paid Russell Wilson. Like you paid him, and all I heard all season long, all off season long, was Broncos are going to win the division, and I LOL'd at that because the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, and the Raiders got better, and the Chargers are significantly better, and then we get this: you pay him $254 over 4 to let your kicker kick 64 yards, which would have tied the longest instead of going for it, and then you call 2 timeouts after. Because you think Geno Smith is going to fumble the handoff?
I have absolutely. The end of that game, look, I don't think I could have timed an I'm mad to bitch about clock management any better than I did. That is some of the worst I have ever seen. And I'm sitting here watching Russell Wilson, as Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are just tonsils deep on, he's the greatest fourth quarter quarterback of all time. And I'm watching this going, you are watching the same game I am, aren't you? This is taking a really long time.
Yeah, it was bad.
It's just
bad all around.
It's just not good. It's just not good.
I don't get it.
I don't either, to be really honest with you. I look at were you as dumbfounded at how bad Denver's defense was, or was that just me?
No, so the prevailing takeaway from the game in order were the Denver Broncos defense that we've come to know and accept as being above average and pretty good was not.
You got carved up by the guy that got his jaw broke playing for my Jets.
Yeah, Geno is not. He's not everybody. He's not that guy, and they made him look like Troy Aikman out there. Russell doesn't have any rapport with a wide receiver. I mean, Cortland Sutton, we got first catch was Jerry Jeudy. First wide receiver targeted was Jeudy, and it wasn't until halfway through the second quarter.
I mean, and that started to develop as it went along.
Yeah.
I will say there is one Denver Bronco that I feel much better about for fantasy football purposes, and his name is Javonte Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Javonte Williams.
Good God, they targeted him a billion times.
How are you feeling about Beck?
I mean, I hated the band. I had a friend in high school that looked exactly like him.
I don't understand. Andrew Beck got a ton of toe early on. And I don't understand where that came from.
I also need Joe Buck and Troy Aikman to never have somebody tell them how to say their name ever again. Did you notice how strangely they were saying Albert Okwuegbunam?
I was trying not to pay attention to them.
Okwuegbunam. Nope, that's not. I don't care if that's how he told you to say it. That is not how you say his name.
Try again.
If it is how you say his name, he has changed the pronunciation of it in about the last 6 months.
Yeah.
See, we get a pronunciation guide from the NFL where these guys actually give you the phonetic spelling of their name. Been Albert Okwuegbunam since the day he was at Missouri. And then Troy Aikman and Joe Buck went,
what was I don't want to take away from the afternoon show, but what was the crazier week this week? Was it the NCAA or was it the NFL?
Other than last night, I wasn't really dumbfounded by anything that happened in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, what really shocked you? All right, the Saints and the Falcons was closer than you thought it would be. Agreed, but one of the things that we routinely say on this show, NFL games stay closer than you think. They're very rarely ever just pure blowouts.
Yeah.
It's the reason all the lines were within 7.5 points.
Yeah. Nothing was super crazy standout-ish. Like the Dolphins won. They were the favorite. The Bengals lost on, they had opportunities, but that's the beauty of football is that anybody could win anything. But basically it kind of went as expected, save a couple of goal line upsets. Everybody's going to praise the Giants, and I love that they won, and I'm happy for Saquon. So happy for Saquon Barkley. If you can get Saquon Barkley, get him now.
100%.
His price will be high.
You're not going to like what you're asked for.
No, and it's not a couple of handies out back.
No. Over the pants HJs is not going to be enough to get Saquon at this point.
No, maybe a week ago though. You might have been able to get away with it a week ago. And it was pretty expected. I think last night was the worst.
Last night dumbfounded me. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly that happened.
No, don't understand.
And your takeaway is Seattle better than we think? Is Denver worse than we thought? Is it some
Denver's
combination
worse.
of the two?
No, Denver's worse. Seattle is not good. Seattle's not good because when Bradley Chubb started to do his swim, so I don't know if he was trying to get a push or do spins or something, but he was doing a swim move around the outside, and it felt like he was in the backfield on every other play.
Bradley Chubb had a good game.
And he's probably the gold star recipient for that Broncos team.
Oh, no doubt. He was the only player that should walk away from that going, I did my part. Him and Javonte Williams.
Yeah. Although that fumble that's brutal.
Oh, my God. First team in my lifetime to fumble twice inside the 1 yard line.
Awful.
I was born in 1987.
84. I think it was 82, wasn't it?
It was 87. It was the same year I was born.
Okay, yeah.
Just dumbfounding to me. And I'm going to slightly disagree with you. I think Seattle is a little better than we thought. They don't belong with the Bears, but over the course of the season, that's going to bear itself out. I mean, I still think they're one of the 6 or 7 worst teams in the NFL.
Forget last night for a second. On paper, are they better or worse than my Patriots, who you have picking in the top 5? On paper, not how they performed, because as we saw, New England can't perform with anything, and Seattle actually showed up.
On paper, New England is better than them. What I saw, there is more heart and more cohesion in Seattle than there is in New England.
Seattle showed up. That's the big takeaway from the Seattle side for me. They showed up.
But now the question is, did they show up as a big fuck you to Russell Wilson, or did they show up because they're actually better than we think?
No, I think they showed up as listen. I was so confused by this. Russell Wilson won a Walter Payton Man of the Year award in Seattle, as in he did so much good for the community that he was recognized and rewarded for it, and they booed him
mercilessly,
like Phillies fans booed Santa Claus.
In fairness, Jonathan Welch did tell us that was coming.
Yeah, and absolutely, but I still can't imagine how this wasn't a middle finger to Russ. And you could see, if you watched Pete Carroll on the sidelines, every single play that they succeeded on, 70-plus-year-old Pete Carroll is running and jumping around on the sidelines. He loved every second.
I think that's where I undervalued this Seattle team. Oh, look, I'm still not saying they're good.
No.
I undervalued how important it is that you have Pete Carroll on the sideline.
Oh, it's huge.
There's a reason that he's still coaching at 70 years old. By the way, is he the youngest looking 70-year-old on the planet Earth?
Yeah.
Pete Carroll is old enough to be my grandfather, and somehow he looks younger than me.
You could tell me that Pete Carroll was in his 50s, and I'd believe you.
You could tell me Pete Carroll was younger than me, and I would believe you. And you know why that is? I would wager he doesn't drink 3 cases of domestic light in one football weekend.
Yeah, that's likely there.
How many beers did you drink over the course of the 4 days of football?
0.
0?
0 beers.
Good
beer-free.
God.
That's all right, though.
Are you applying for your sainthood?
Fuck no.
How do you watch football without beer?
I gave it up a long time ago. Too much negative nonsense that came with it. Listen, I love.
What, you don't drink at all?
Not anymore. Sit down, sippy sip. Sure, but honestly, story for another day, not a football one. But yeah, definitely. In my heyday, it would be 4 or 5 pitchers deep before anything happened. So that's a kickoff.
Indeed.
We used to drink yards, like they bring them out full yard.
Indeed. I did the math. I bought 2 cases of domestic light beers. That was on Friday. There are 2 left.
That's a solid.
And
weekend.
I spent an entire Sunday at a bar.
At the bar. Yep.
And I had 0 last night. That is an aggressive weekend.
That's a good weekend.
There's a reason they call me the John Daly of Buncombe County. And it fits.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Speaking of Buncombe County, is there any chance you have been on political sites today at all?
No, I refuse to bring myself to the muck.
I don't do politics at all, but I do work in a radio station. So Asheville is on the cover of Fox News right now.
Oh, no.
Our buddy, Asheville Police Chief David Zach, was interviewed for a story with the former sheriff and with an absolute lunatic fringe that does politics, and I'm being very loose with that. And it's on the cover of Fox News. So if you hear people randomly outside the door, that's why.
Incredible.
It's a little bit of a busy day around here.
Incredible.
Speaking of a busy day, if you have number 1 waiver priority this week, who are you picking up?
Ooh. I'll tell you, I'm still avoiding a lot of people. I'm taking a look at a couple of my leagues. I have some waiver positions that are available. God, probably not anyone on the quarterback side of things. I might grab Jahan Dotson if he's available.
Jahan Dotson is probably the one that I'm leaning on the most.
He seemed to have, it's really hard because there's still the Carson Wentz effect there. And I can't bring myself to go, that is definitely the guy that's going to help the Commanders. Also, funny story, Commanders were selling a mug with the Commanders logo, but a picture of a silhouette of Washington State in the background.
Sweet.
I don't know if geography lesson for all those out there from the Canadian of all people. Commanders aren't in Washington State.
Washington, D.C., not in Washington State.
Jahan Dotson is probably my target.
I like Jahan Dotson. On my list, he would be my 2. Because there is one guy that technically is not rostered in enough leagues to not fall into this. Because according to fantasy pros across the industry, he is rostered in 50% of leagues.
Okay.
Jarvis Landry.
That is impressive to me.
So I'll tell you a fun story about Jarvis Landry. So I often talk about there's a big money league that I'm in that has a very kooky scoring system. Receivers are borderline irrelevant. So
okay.
I drafted a tight end that was George Kittle. So obviously he was not playing. My receivers were Garrett Wilson, Kenny Golladay, and Christian Kirk. That was going into yesterday. After we did the morning show, I picked up Jarvis Landry and rolled him as my second receiver. I won by 40 in a league that I started Cam Akers and Isaiah Likely.
Yuck.
They had 1.5 points more than I did.
How does this even happen? How?
I feel like Jarvis Landry is the no doubt. I mean, he led the Saints in receptions, and I don't think that's going to be a bizarre thing. Do you? I mean, obviously, you'd rather have Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is more talented.
Of course.
But Jarvis Landry, rest of the year, falls in where for you?
He's probably an outside shot to be a mid-tier wide receiver 2.
I'm right there with you. I got him as a back-end receiver, too.
Yeah, I don't. He's not, obviously, Michael Thomas is going to get those tutties. Right, like I don't think you're going to see anybody outside of Thomas getting that toe, but you're going to see plenty of look, and you're going to get all the. I mean, look, Landry's always been a guy that's going to get his. He's going to get the touches, and in full PPR, you're going to get your single points for reception. So,
I have Jarvis Landry as wide receiver 27 this week.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can go get that guy right now, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I think that's a must add.
Jahan Dotson would be my 2, and then there's another one that we got to talk about.
It better not be Rex Burkhead.
It is not Rex Burkhead.
God damn it.
I need Rex Burkhead to get abducted by aliens or something.
Yes, please.
He is greatly precluding it being Dameon Pierce season.
Yeah.
And I'm very irritable about that.
Well, we're both maybe a little over on Dameon Pierce shares, and that's okay. Or it's not happening. Okay, and it's irritating, but
it's happening. Something is happening that I have told you about forever. It's Josh Palmer time, baby!
Yeah.
No Keenan Allen, let's go! Kansas City's dog water putrid bullshit defense against Josh Palmer with no Keenan Allen. This is what we've been waiting for.
I am 100% in on Palmer. I was in on Palmer when we did our Sunday fantasy show. We did our Sunday DFS show all of last year, and he was a regular late in the season for Boomer bust. And I think he's your over-the-top guy. I don't think he's going to be anything crazy. But he's going to be good.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Mike Williams was not particularly good.
No. Where's all the Mike Williams fans? Where are they at?
Mike Williams, there are just certain players that I'm not a fan of, and I'm never going to be.
I've always been the Keenan Allen guy over the Mike Williams.
See, I love Keenan Allen. I don't like Mike Williams.
Yeah, same.
And I mean, I get the merit. He's the deep threat, whatever. He has way too many 2-catch for 10 yards games like he had against the Raiders. A team that, if you look at that defense, there is no way they should have been able to shut him down.
No.
Does it scare you at all how the Chargers divvied out their targets?
No.
7 receivers had 4 targets. Nobody had more than that.
No, not this. So I think that's a product of the Raiders defense being a little more dynamic than people want to give it credit for. I know the game didn't look that way. I think that it's more about spreading the ball around. This is going to be the Chargers and the Chiefs are going to be 2 teams that it's going to be really hard to nail down who's going to be that guy. Like, who's going to take off, because you're going to see a lot of distribution. We talked about it this past Sunday about the Chiefs. There's going to be a wide receiver that goes off and unfortunately missed, but we were right on the premise. And I think that's going to be the same progress, the same process with the Chargers.
I would agree with that. I like with no Keenan Allen, it kind of clarifies things because there's not really another receiver on this team. I mean, Jalen Guyton, woo. Yeah. We've fallen for that. I mean, he could have a decent game against Kansas City. I see this game being an absolute shootout. I want as many shares as I can get. And it's a short week. They haven't officially ruled out Keenan Allen yet, but I don't see any way that he plays.
Couple of quick questions in the chat. Rob Johnson asks, Samuel or Dotson? I think I'm on Dotson there.
I'm going to take Dotson because I think he has a higher upside. Samuel would be in my top 5 of waiver claims this week overall.
Yeah.
There's not much at running back.
No.
I mean, people are going to tell you to go chase Jalen Warren but Najee might be hurt. Najee is one of the toughest dudes I have ever seen.
He's going to play against the Patriots, and he'll be just fine.
And they expect him to be, quote, good to go.
Yep.
If you're picking up a running back this week, who is it?
If I'm picking up a running back, I'm not. God, is there anybody even available?
Jeff Wilson.
Yeah. I don't love it. It's okay. Jeff Wilson is the, if you have to do it.
I don't mind Jeff Wilson. And I'll tell you why. I have always told the stat about San Francisco 49er running backs being top 24 in fantasy football. Sure. This happens every single year. Somebody gets hurt, and it clarifies that backfield. How many players had more than 6 carries for the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday?
Not many.
4.
Yeah.
4 different guys had 6 carries or more. Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel, Trey Lance, Jeff Wilson. The thing that makes me nervous is that you're getting carved out Trey Lance work, you're getting carved out Deebo Samuel work.
Like, we've got Wilson, Kenyon Drake. Mike Davis does nothing for me. No thanks. Burkhead, I'm still not. Look, if you're in a pinch and you think that it's going to happen, you might want to grab Rex Burkhead if you're desperate. Jerick McKinnon is yuck. Yuck. It gets worse from there.
Formerly fat Jamal Williams.
Like, are you targeting Samaje Perine? Is that is it Boston Scott season?
No, I mean, I if I had to pick up a running back, I was absolutely desperate. Jamal Williams would probably be my one.
Yeah.
Jeff Wilson, the thing that scares me is what is his actual upside?
Oh, you'll probably get, I think if you're picking up Jeff Wilson, you're probably hoping for a big game, but you're probably looking at like 7 to 10 points on the top end.
And I think that's probably been nice. I mean, he had 2 catches. He had 9 carries after Elijah Mitchell went down. Deebo Samuel really cranked up. He was far more effective.
Yeah.
And I just look for Deebo. This is what you were wanting. If you never want anybody to get hurt, but if you're a Deebo Samuel owner, you should be very happy right now that this is going exactly how you would have wanted it to.
Yeah. Rob also asked Mike Williams or Christian Kirk this week. I think you play Kirk until he tells you otherwise, especially with Williams being kind of.
Christian Kirk is a borderline wide receiver 1 for me this week.
As much as I hate it.
So is Mike Williams. I personally would play them both because I can't really imagine you have 2 better options.
He showed up for his money on week 1. Take that for what it is, but he showed up.
I like Christian Kirk for the year. That's a receiver we told you all offseason long, be fat on Christian Kirk, and in week 1 he showed you why.
And then Kevin, the PRF asked, should I expect Robinson to be forgotten in the Rams offense all year?
No.
No,
you shouldn't.
Brown is Rob Johnson's other option for what it's worth.
Look, the way the Bills defended the Rams, they knew they were going to take their lumps with Cooper Kupp. They shut down Allen Robinson. I've watched that game film twice.
Yeah.
They shut down Allen Robinson under the premise of we will let Cooper Kupp hurt us because Cooper Kupp's not going to beat us by himself. Allen Robinson, as time progresses, it will get better. I can't tell you it's going to be ideal. I mean, I'm just looking at the Rams' schedule.
Right.
I mean, they play the Falcons this week. That should be pretty good. Cardinals next week. That should also be pretty good. And that's before you get into the 49ers, Cowboys, Panthers, 49ers. Ugh. God, that's an ugly stretch.
It really is.
I'll be honest with you, Allen Robinson's a player that I would
target.
Well, the next 2 weeks he's probably going to put up points, and I would try to parlay him after week 3.
I think that makes sense.
Because he's going to doo-doo in your punch bowl the 5 weeks after that.
Running back is really thin. A place that is a little thin as well is quarterback. Typically, people start streaming quarterbacks immediately because the panic will set in. Someone has a bad game. Is there anybody on that list that you're like, are you buying the Jacoby Brissett, Geno Smith era? I'm away on Cooper Rush and I'm away on Flacco. I'm also not in on Mariota, but Brissett has your Jets. Geno's got the Niners, which I'm not 100% on, but we'll see what happens. Either of those guys mean anything on your waiver preference?
If I was streaming a quarterback this week, Carson Wentz is the one I can't get away from. And I'll be honest with you, Carson Wentz should be owned anyway.
He should.
Carson Wentz should be owned in leagues anyway. I mean, I'm just looking at Fantasy Pros, has him at 15% roster right now, and that's stupid. Baker Mayfield is rostered in more leagues than Carson Wentz, and that is stupid.
That's an auto draft. I can guarantee
I guess.
An auto draft thing.
Kelvin Joyner asked in the comments, should I drop Cam Akers for James Robinson, or is that too much of a knee-jerk reaction? That is too much of a knee-jerk reaction.
Very much so.
Cam Akers look, for what you had to invest in Cam Akers, you cannot tap this early. I'll be honest with you, I'm targeting Cam Akers because I'm getting people that are offering him to me for a bag of balls.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. That is, look, fantasy football is mitigating risk. That is all this sport is. And yes, I call it a sport because it is.
Yep.
If you look at week 1 with Cam Akers, the target share wasn't there. All right, the snap count wasn't there. That makes me think he's probably not as healthy as one would like. Now, if something happened to Darrell Henderson, or just they figure out that he sucks hind tit at football, eventually Cam Akers is going to get the tote. I mean, Darrell Henderson had 13 carries, 5 receptions. Do you have any idea? 18 touches. Do you know how many total yards he had?
In the 40s at best.
75.
Nah, that's
75.
That's a lot.
As a matter of fact, I did the math wrong. 73.
It's a lot of touches for that kind of production. That reminds me of the Joe Flacco throwing 53 times for 300-something yards and only getting 9 points.
I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
It's not your fault.
It's
not your
you
fault.
just mark my words.
You're amongst friends. It's okay.
You know what? You just mark my words. Yeah, and I want you to remember I said this. This may be my Jets plus 7. My Jets are a 6-point dog this week at Cleveland, and I don't hate it at all.
I don't hate that at all.
I don't hate it at all. Lamar Jackson struggled to put up points against us. Now, granted, he hit 2 big old biggins. The Cleveland Browns don't have anybody to hit big old biggins with.
No, not at all.
So Jets plus 6 is looking a little tasty to me.
Yeah, I am all the way out on Cooper Rush and everybody else that's going there. There's all the Dak owners. We tried to tell you. We tried to tell you
the Dallas Cowboys are not good at football. It's not good. It's bad.
If you're in a keeper or a dynasty league, are you looking to pick up Jimmy G on the cheap right now?
No.
It's almost there, isn't it? It's almost
there. I mean, I don't hate it. There are certainly things I would hate worse. I feel like quarterback's so deep that I don't have to chase with Jimmy Garoppolo. Plus, how good would he be? All right, let's say John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan come together and go, you know what? We got this wrong. The hell with Trey Lance, and they inserted Jimmy Garoppolo right now. Where would you actually have him?
Back end of the 30. He's above most of the bottom 10 of the league, but that's about it.
He's a back end QB too. I would have him at 23-ish.
Yeah, I was going to say like high end, maybe 20.
I mean, just looking at my rankings for quarterbacks in week 2, I don't think I could play Daniel Jones above him, but I could play Ryan Tannehill. I could play Davis Mills. I mean, he's going to be in the high 20s, 22-ish.
Yep.
There's enough quarterbacks that I don't have to chase that. Now, I mean, if you're desperate and you're in a dynasty and there's nobody else out there, you could do worse.
There's definitely opportunity there. If you're looking to parlay in dynasty, we have crazy amounts of wide receivers that are available. And wide receivers probably the biggest overreaction spot after week 1, in my opinion. Running backs happens, but a good running back is a good running back. Are you looking at Robbie Anderson right now? Going against the G-men?
I have long said that if there was one receiver that was going to benefit from Baker Mayfield, it was Robbie Anderson. Because he throws a better deep ball than Sam Darnold does.
Yeah.
So, you could do worse. I mean, in terms of the pecking order of receivers, I would chase both Washington guys first. I would chase Julio Jones first. DJ Chark is close.
So I think that's where I draw it.
That's about my line.
Yeah, I think Robbie showed that he can still play. I wouldn't mind it as a 1-week pickup over the Giants. I think that's okay. I like it better than Corey Davis, AJ Green.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing the AJ Green thing. I'm good. Alex S in the YouTube comments asked, start 2, Amon-Ra, Michael Thomas, Scary Terry, Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's the one I'm not going to touch.
You're not going to play Deontay Johnson?
Not this week.
I like Amon-Ra and Michael Thomas. The first two names on that list are probably where I go. Scary Terry's an excellent receiver, but it looks like Jahan Dotson's taken over some of those touches. And if you're not touching Deontay Johnson, because he is that guy.
Oh, he's very, very good. It's
he's a
just
bad
this
man,
week,
but
there's something about New England that
they're going to take away him or Freiermuth, one of those two.
What does Bill do better than anybody? Takes away the number one thing you want to do.
Yep. Deontay Johnson is that guy, though.
All right, we're going to have to take a momentary break. We'll be back in just a second. All right, we're back. Had to reset the decks there. In the YouTube comments, Colin asked, should I start Marquise Brown or Drake London in my flex spot? Where'd Armchair go? Armchair disappeared. Well, hopefully we will reconnect with Armchair here momentarily. My answer would probably be, God, I think the Cardinals are going to get absolutely scattered, smothered, and covered. So it's going to be hard for me. It's going to be hard for me to say Marquise Brown. It'd be hard for me to say Marquise Brown. I would probably take Drake London just on sheer upside alone. I mean, the Falcons this week, God, I think the Cardinals and the Falcons both get slaughtered this week. I would say Ramsey probably ends up on Kyle Pitts. I'm going to go I'm going to go Drake London. We're trying to reconnect with Armchair. Not 100% sure what happened there. Alex S. asked, is Breece Hall going to be the guy or is it Carter from now on? I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I have absolutely no idea. I have been told all offseason long that we were undervaluing Michael Carter and they were going to use him more than we thought. And I think there's an entire possibility that Michael Carter is going to be more relevant to. Question was about Michael Carter.
Ooh, Michael Carter?
Do you have any faith in Michael Carter, or are they going to turn to Breece Hall?
In this week?
I think the question was season long. Eventually, it's going to be Breece
Eventually
Hall.
it's Breece. Yeah, it's probably week 4.
I think it probably lasts a little longer than that. The beginning of the Jets' schedule is a dog baby. They play every team from the AFC North to start the season.
I think you'll see eventually it's going to turn into exactly what you expect, which is that 50-50 split. And again, I trust your sources and knowledge on anything Jets, Jets, but I wouldn't buy high on Michael Carter. If you have Michael Carter, you can start him
absolutely
confidently until then. But I would, if I were you, I would find the owner of Breece Hall and sell.
You would sell on Michael Carter?
I'd sell Michael Carter to the owner of Breece Hall.
So here would be my question:
Would
you prefer to sell Michael Carter or buy Breece Hall?
In season long, probably buy Breece Hall.
That's where I'm at. He had 10 targets. Now, granted, I would say there's probably not a high likelihood that you're going to see Joe Falco throw 59 times this week.
How was Strevler not the quarterback?
I have no clue. I don't know. I don't know how Mike White's not the quarterback, if I'm being really honest with you. But Robert Saleh did leave the door cracked on Mike White.
That was just bad. It was so bad.
Joe Flacco sucks.
Yes, he does.
Tank mentioned this on the ESPN show yesterday. If he had $1 for every time I said Joe Flacco fucking blows dead bears.
Yeah.
I literally said that no less than 20 times. Just because I'm dumbfounded that you're still doing this. And that defense is good. If you had told me Lamar Jackson would have 17 yards rushing, I would have thought we had a chance to win the game.
Lamar didn't sweat. I don't think he broke a sweat. He's just heave a couple of balls and call it a day. Easy day of work at the office. I don't think he was trying to show out. He's more dealing with the nonsense behind not signing him, which is just
insane. Just get the damn deal done.
Good luck. Don't know why you're holding off on that, but
we haven't talked about tight end yet. Is there a tight end that you're looking to add this week?
I don't hate. I'm first off.
Please God, don't say OJ Howard.
No. OJ Howard season ended in 2008, didn't it? Something like that.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. He did have 2 touchdowns.
Sure.
It was also the only 2 targets he had in the entire game.
I don't hate Malali Cox. I don't hate it. I think that split gets different as it goes. The only upside there is he appears to have gotten a little more love. Are you in or out on Hayden Hurst?
I'm sure as hell not in.
Yeah.
I'm sure as hell not in. I mean, he had 8 targets. He's fine. I feel like there's more upside with Robert Tonyan. I feel like there's more upside with Noah Fant. And then there's the one that I specifically want to talk about. Because there is a guy that is a tight end, and we've done this before. We've played this game because he's not really a tight end.
Taysom Hill?
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill's if Taysom Hill is available as a tight end in your league,
I think you do it and you don't think twice.
Yeah, I think you grab that. I might actually do that in a second here.
Taysom Hill is listed as a tight end on Sleeper. Yahoo, Sleeper, and ESPN. Yeah. Alex S. was begging me not to say Taysom Hill. Here's the thing. I'm not telling you he's a good tight end. He's not, but he's a cheat code.
He also gets goal line touches for whatever reason.
He does. I mean, he was not a... At the end of the day, he had 4 carries. He had 4 carries and 1 target. But he also had a 57-yard run.
Yeah. How...
I was dumbfounded by Kamara's usage.
So that was there's a couple of people that I'm going to tell you not to press the panic button on that were high drafts. Obviously, CMC is probably up there on that list too.
I'm more nervous about that than I think you are.
Alvin Kamara was the one where I'm like, just give it a minute.
Oh, God, if anybody's selling Alvin Kamara, I'm buying.
100%.
I mean, hard.
And you'd understand why we were buying if you picked up the Sportsocracy draft kit.
Of which this week we will have all of my rankings. I apologize that we did not have that last week. The server that is housed on kind of piddled in its pants. So tomorrow I'm going to have to go through and rewire all of those things.
Yeah.
To make the projections work and actually redo the rankings.
Yeah, Kamara's a don't panic on me. And
Kamara's a don't panic. I'm not panicked on Najee Harris.
No.
Is there anybody that was drafted high that you are panicking on?
I don't. Honestly, I've been playing fantasy football for a long time, and there are a lot of people taking victory laps over their week one victories, how great they did on week one. And I can tell you, just in the Battle of the Belt best ball league on Sleeper, put up 157 points, and there is no one on there that I would panic at all about. I think there's probably some quarterbacks that you've got some questions about. It's week one, and if you're panicking at all about anybody, we might need to take a breath. Talk to me after week two, though, because week two, then we understand what the game script is going to be. Who knows what happened? I look at week one and go, coaches make decisions. They're not in the swing of things. They think that they've got a game plan. It gets thrown all haywire. It looks ugly. It acts ugly, but I'm not worried about Robinson. I'm not worried about Josh Jacobs. Darren Waller looked good. Some of these matchups were tough and didn't get the love that they wanted. There's no one that I drafted highly that I'm worried about. What about you?
Travis Etienne. I'm legitimately nervous about Travis Etienne.
Free James Robinson.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. James Robinson fits what Doug Peterson wants to do better than Travis Etienne does. I thought the talent would weigh out. I thought the investment would weigh out. And in week one, that did not seem to bear itself out.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest takeaway from week one is that A.J. Brown he's a dog.
Dog.
He is a dog. Jonathan Taylor showed you exactly why he should be drafted high. And if you're still unsure that Justin Jefferson is maybe one of the best two receivers in the league, you should go look at that game film.
It's Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. In the message, repeat the line.
Yeah.
No Devontae Adams is up there too, but he's just older.
Yeah, no.
Stephon Diggs, same thing.
That's always my argument. People go, but what about Devontae? And I say, well, Devontae Adams not a young guy anymore, and still gets it done and does all that. But Justin Jefferson almost had 200 yards.
Matthew Hoffman in the comments asked about Michael Pittman. I don't know if it was a panic on him or not, but Michael Pittman, it was phenomenal. Michael Pittman was phenomenal as the only living, breathing receiver on that team.
I may have hinted on our Sunday fantasy show that I loved the Matt Ryan, Michael Pittman stack. And I know your concern was that Jonathan Taylor was going to get the majority of the looks. But
I had Pittman everywhere.
Pittman was chef's kiss.
Pittman was one of my best calls.
Pittman is a dog. Hoffman just says, no, he is a dog. Yes,
dog.
Yeah.
He a dog.
Yeah, I like that. Is anybody on that game from last night that I don't want to say, but we're not going to call it buying because I'm not buying anybody from either of those teams right now. But is there anybody that you're putting on a watch list from the game last night? Are you keeping a closer eye on Lockett or Metcalf that you otherwise maybe wouldn't have? Sutton, Judy?
I have 0 shares of DK Metcalf.
Same.
And I saw Alex asked if I'm trying to sell DK, what should I try to get for him? I don't think he did anything to hurt his stock from where it was.
Nope.
I mean, Geno Smith, that was encouraging. And here's what I will say if you have Seattle Seahawks. They play the Falcons and the Lions the 2 weeks after this week. So I could see a path, and I know this is going to sound completely insane. I could see a path where the Seahawks are 3-1. I don't think it's going to happen because I think they'll lose at the Lions. But then after that, you've got a lot of Saints, Chargers, Bucks, Raiders, Rams, Jets. That Jet defense looked good. You can call me a homer if you want to. That Jet defense looked good.
No, it did.
So I would be trying to ride it out with Seattle Seahawks for a couple weeks and then parlay them into something 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. Kevin, the PRF, comes in with week 1 knee-jerk reaction. Replace Flex Pierce for Anderson? ?
Don't tap out on Dameon Pierce yet.
Don't do it.
Don't tap out on Dameon Pierce yet.
And Chris D comes at us with start 2, Kirk, Mike Williams, A.J. Dillon. The leading receiver for the Green Bay Packers, A.J. Dillon.
I'll go. God, that's a good problem to have.
Kirk and Dillon for me.
I think it's Kirk and Dillon for me too.
I'm out on Mike Williams being fantasy relevant.
I just see a path that Mike Williams is doubled with no Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be so many points in that game, it's hard for me to tell you to sit anybody in that game. But I think I would. I'm very high on Christian Kirk. I'm very high on A.J. Dillon. Rob Johnson asks, start Wentz or Kirk Cousins this week?
Cousins.
I don't know that I agree with you.
I am all the way in on Kirk Cousins' MVP season. Whether he gets there or not is irrelevant. I think that he shows up this is his, and we talked about this when we did some of the other Mullet Man and Canadans. I think that Cousins just this is going to be his best year of football. He's going to get the bag, and then he's going to wander off into the sunset.
I'm a little nervous.
Pay him.
You know what I'm getting ready to say.
Sure.
You never trust primetime Kirk Cousins.
You don't.
His record is dookie water. Yeah, for me, it's Carson Wentz. And it's really, the more I'm thinking about it, it's not even all that close. They're playing that Lions team that just gave up a bajillion to Jalen Hurts. What do you think Carson Wentz is going to do to them?
That's fair.
Who can actually legitimately throw the football. Alex S. asked, do we buy Dameon Pierce?
Yes.
Because right now you probably get him for a bag of wieners.
If Dameon Pierce is available on waivers, buy him now.
I don't think there's a chance. I don't think anybody's going to drop him, but I guarantee you whoever has him is panicking.
Yeah.
Unless it's me. If you're in a league with me, you don't even bother sending that text because you're not going to like the response.
No.
Because here's the thing. The workload was split very evenly between Burkhead and Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
The discrepancy was that they trusted Burkhead when they were trying to stop the clock away, and we all saw how that went. Yeah. You lost a game or you didn't lose. You tied in a game that you had no business not winning. Dameon Pierce's role is going to grow all year long. The schedule's not horribly daunting.
No.
As a matter of fact, it's one of the easier schedules in the league. I'm buying Dameon Pierce, and I'm buying him aggressively.
Yeah, I'm in on that.
And Alex S. followed that up with, would you rather have Pierce or Brees? I'm going to go Pierce solely because there's less impediment to a workload for him.
100%. Michael Carter's still good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that backfield is going to be split, and I think it's going to lean more and more Brees Hall as we go along.
Yeah.
But I would say it's going to lean Pierce in the beginning in Houston, and by the end of it, it'll be 75-25 Dameon Pierce. Should I sit Brees Hall in my flex for Juju or Rashad Bateman? That's from Matthew Hoffman.
You should definitely sit Brees Hall.
I would agree.
And I might still sit. I might play Juju there. That's tough. But look, one of those wide receivers is going to go off.
I want every piece of.
Have to, right?
I want every piece of Chiefs Chargers that I can get.
Yeah, I think you have to.
That's an over that I don't think they could have set the number high enough.
54.5 right now.
54.5, and I could see it getting all the way to 56.5. I think it started at 52.5. I have it at a number that is lower than 54.5. I do recall that. And the only reason I recall that is because I said I would take this if you added a touchdown, and I wouldn't take it at 61.5.
The line has also moved to -4 for the Chiefs,
which is dumb to me.
Yeah.
That's a dumb overreaction to me.
Yeah, take Juju wherever you can get him.
Kelvin Joyner, do I flex Claypool or Dameon Pierce?
Who do the Texans have this week?
The Texans take on the Denver Broncos. That just made Rashad Penny look like Barry Sanders.
You flex Pierce.
I agree. Is the Green Bay defense concerning? If so, who do you drop them for? So I am slightly concerned about the Green Bay defense.
Sure.
Now, that being said, you have the Bears this week. So, no. I'm going to roll with the Packers. I'm going to assume Justin Fields. I'm just going to assume that game's not going to be played in the monsoon, and I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't see. Everybody needs to relax.
RELAX.
Pretty sure they got beat 38 to something last year too, week 1. So this is Aaron Rodgers. This is a bye week for Aaron. I saw that meme earlier today. Week 1 is a bye for Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't actually.
Yeah, he doesn't actually play.
No.
Matthew Hoffman asked, are you worried about Russell Wilson? From a fantasy standpoint, no. From a real life standpoint, absolutely.
Yeah. I think you should ask yourself 2 questions. One, why was Seattle willing to let him go? If he was elite quarterbacks, like Super Bowl championship winning Russell Wilson, are not easy to come by. And we see every year guys get drafted and they bust pretty quick after, whether it's a true bust like Ryan Leaf, or whether it's turns out you're just okay and you get replaced. They let him go. They were like, yes, we will take your incredibly rich offer and give you Russell. And then also that Denver paid him without seeing a single snap. Super questionable decisions. You're banking on Danger Russ from 2018, and I just don't know if he's got that still.
All right, I have one question for you on the way out.
Okay.
We're going to do power rankings this afternoon on the ESPN Radio Show.
Excellent.
Worst team in the NFL to you is?
Dallas Cowboys.
Holy shit. I was not expecting you to say that. But I will tell you this. So the ESPN Power Rankings came out this morning. Obviously, being an employee of ESPN, that's the one I'm going to use. Dallas is at 26. And there are at least 3 teams behind them that I think are better than them.
Who do they have behind them? Do I want to know? Can you tell me, or are you going to leave it for the show?
In order, Detroit's 27, Carolina's 28, the Atlanta Falcons are 29, Houston is 30, Jacksonville's 31, and they have my Jets at 32. Which is comically stupid to me.
Wow. Okay, so that might be one of the worst rankings I've ever seen. Dallas did nothing.
No, Dallas is awful.
With or without Dak, and not that the Bucs were anything special, but wow. Okay.
Carolina? I'm going to all right, so I have not looked at this yet. So Vegas does a poll.
Yep.
That is used to set lines.
Okay.
Who do you think Vegas has as the worst team in the NFL? See, this is a power ranking that I more agree with. They also still have Dallas at 12. So take that for what it's worth.
Do they have my guys down there?
You were at 18.
How?
Well, I mean, they have you ahead of the Raiders, which is just ignorantly dumb to me.
So do they have Jacksonville down there?
Jacksonville's 30, Atlanta's 31, Carolina's 32. Carolina would be a half-point dog to every team in the NFL on a neutral field.
So let me ask you this: was Carolina that bad? Because I didn't think they were. I think the game was gross, but I didn't think they were that bad. I don't like Baker, but I thought they were a mid-tier team last week for week 1.
All right, so let me ask you, what did they do well? What did Carolina do that makes you go, yeah, that?
They didn't do anything particularly well, but they didn't do anything that awful. Versus, like, I'm going to look at the other side of it. What did they do so bad that, like, what did your Jets do that was that awful to get them 32?
The offense is god awful.
But the defense was pretty good.
The defense is going to be good.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you this. I am, and Armchair can vouch for this, I am probably the most realistic Jets fan you'll ever meet because I don't jump off the bridge and I don't buy the hype.
Mm-hmm.
On either side, I know what this team is.
Except
that defense is going to be a pain in the ass.
It is. It's a good defense.
That defense is going to be a pain in the ass.
100%. I agree.
All right. Anything on the way out, Mr. Armchair Commentary?
Don't sell your house. It's fine. Like, everybody needs to chill out after 1 week. Whether you won or you lost, just check your injuries. And don't play. Listen, don't play someone in your flex spot on Thursday.
Yeah. Always remember proper roster construction. Save as much flexibility as humanly possible. If a guy plays on Thursday, they go into a position spot, not into a flex spot.
100%.
All right. This has been fun. I feel like we can probably say we'll be doing this on Tuesdays.
Yeah, this is an easy one.
Yeah, this is an easy layup. We got the morning show with Brian on Wednesdays. I think this works. Check us out Sunday morning for your live start sit fantasy football question show. For David Smith of Armchair Commentary, I'm Jeremy Greene. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you this afternoon with the ESPN Radio Show.